Okay, so here's the deal with gearing in Modern WoW. When you're gearing up your main, you are starting from nothing. You've got a fresh 90, leveling greens, no crests. But your alts do not start off like that because your Warband has been stacking up so many advantages as you've been playing. Cheaper upgrades, actually cheaper than you'd think. Banked gear, transferable currency, free catalyst charges. There is so much, and it means that gearing your second character feels completely different to gearing your first. And because of Delves and Prey, the journey actually involves content that you can turn your brain on for. So today we're going to cover what your Warband already gives you, the sources you might be sleeping on, and the weekly loop that is going to get you from leveling greens to the hero track nice and quick. And if you're still leveling, stick around because some of this will even apply to you before you hit level 90. Now, if you don't want to learn about coding, you're not into games, just skip this. But if you're still here, well, the good news is that today's sponsor, Boot.dev, was built specifically for us by, of course, a big fellow gamer. And Boot is actually more relevant than ever. You see, what they do is they teach back-end development. That's the kind of thing that lands you those 100k plus jobs, but they do it through a structured, self-paced program that's designed to be around 12 months. It's extremely in-depth, and it's structured like an RPG. Leaderboards, achievements, quests, big Discord community that actually helps, and crazy stats when it comes to just the amount of users that they've got and how well their platform's been doing. Now, they teach you Python, TypeScript, Go, all of that, and it's all from the fundamentals up. That includes portfolio projects, things like building a Pokedex. It's all really cool. Now, from my side of things, I did a BEng computer science, that's C++ and C# game engine-y stuff, which is a fairly different world to web dev. That's why Boot's really useful to me. And their teaching approach, I'd say, is incalculably better than anything that I really got at uni. It's just far more hands-on and really thorough. And here's the thing. With the Claude codes and the cursors, which honestly are kind of addicting and fun, well, they're only as good as the person who's using them. And what Boot teaches you is the fundamentals that separate a serious engineer from just someone who's generating a bunch of code that they don't understand, that may be cool, but maybe won't work or maybe won't be secure. So if you're serious about getting real engineering skills, this is for you. And hell, their new Training Grounds feature even generates personalized problems based on what has challenged you as you've been doing things on Boot, all with spaced repetition baked in. It's goddamn gigabrain. And you'll get 25% off your first purchase at boot.dev/bellular. You'll save the most on an annual sub, and if you're not happy, don't worry, they will refund you on the spot. Thanks to them for sponsoring. Okay, so before you queue anything or do anything, first check what's already waiting for your character, and that means your Warband bank. If you've been doing endgame stuff like rares, treasures, delves, prey, dungeons, or raids, well, you've been picking up Warband until equipped gear without even thinking about it. So open up the Warband bank tab you've been dumping all that into and throw it onto your alt. And by now, most people will find a stack of adventurer and veteran pieces that can take a fresh 90 from leveling greens to 220 or 230 before you step inside a single dungeon. And in my case, because I've been raiding and doing a few other things, I've actually even got some champion gear that my alt can start with. And that is enough to jump straight into, say, tier 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 delves, instead of grinding your way up from the very bottom. So that's good. The second big thing then is our crest discounts. This is the big one, and most people don't realize the scale of this. Whenever your main hits a certain item level in every gear slot, you unlock a Warband-wide achievement. And what it does is it halves your upgrade costs on all of your alts up to that threshold. So these achievements are Adventurer of the Dawn, requiring 237 in every slot, and that will cut all upgrades to 237 down to costing only 10 crests instead of 20. Beyond that, there's Veteran of the Dawn at 250, Champion of the Dawn at 263, and Hero and Myth basically follow the same pattern. What that'll basically mean is twice the upgrades from the same crest spend. But what if I told you it actually gets even better? And that's because it also makes crest transmutation way more efficient on alts. So the way that works is when you can no longer use a type of crest, you can trade in 30 of those for 10 of a higher tier crest. That's pretty good, but with upgrades normally costing 20, well, you don't get that many upgrades. Now you get twice as many upgrades for that same amount of transmuting, and the more you get those upgrades, the more you'll unlock new types of transmutation, meaning you can blast your way up the upgrade tiers. It's pretty huge. And because your alts burn through fewer crests per upgrade, you'll have a huge surplus to trade up, and that's even better now that the weekly caps have rolled on and they're now like 700-800 plus. And what all this does mean for our video is that if you're a few item slots away from unlocking the next threshold of discount on your main, then you should probably finish that first, because that discount will apply to every alt you gear this season. So that's all pretty good. But there's also 4 free bits of champion gear from the Zone Renowns. I say free, though you do need Renown to unlock them, but you already have that Renown because, well, it's all account-wide. And that means you can pick up a helmet from Silvermoon Court at Renown 9, neck from the Amani tribe at Renown 9, waist from the Harati at Renown 8, and a trinket from the Singularity at Renown 7. Getting each of them does require doing a quest for the faction, but hey, it's 4 bits of 246 gear, and you should also know that it's worth doing the console upgrade things for the Singularity because that will make their trinket a good bit more powerful. So you'll definitely want to pick those up first as you are walking through your weekly rotation. Now, even if you've not hit max level, this kind of thing matters, and that's because some of the weekly activities like prey hunts and some of the world event things like the Silvermoon Court, well, those events actually drop endgame strongboxes regardless of your level. That means the paladin I'm currently leveling up has actually got some endgame gear that it's already earned just from doing the leveling process. You've already got loads of options and discounts, but the next thing is kind of similar, and that is with crafting. You see, your alt gets catch-up sparks of radiance. They'll drop from delves, dungeons, and weekly quests at an accelerated rate until you've caught up to the current cap. Now, each armor piece or one-hander will cost 2 sparks to craft, and 2-handers will cost 4. And in terms of item level, at max quality, using no crests for the craft, a spark will come out at item level 259, which is the equivalent of Hero 1 out of 6. And that means that, well, with one craft, your weapon can go from a leveling green to literally endgame. And generally speaking, unless you have another weapon lying around, such as Warband equipped one, you'll want to craft a weapon first, because they just have a huge impact. But there is a little bit of a trap depending on how you plan to play the game. So, if you're not really going to be doing myth content, this isn't as important, but if you are, you should know about it. So, hero crests can be used, of course, on these crafts, and the hero empowered crafts go all the way up to item level 272. So, to have a bunch of those is really awesome. Now, each will cost 80 hero crests. So basically, it's not really worth doing if you're going to be getting myth crests and you just want to craft at myth item level. But honestly, now that we're many weeks into the season and the caps are so high, yeah, if you just want to craft a bunch of hero stuff, yeah, do feel free to do that. But either way, a good thing you can do is just craft 2, 3, maybe 4 pieces right now at their baseline level of power, item level 259. You can use them now, and if you want to recraft later, once your crest pool can absorb that cost, you can go and do that. Now, when you're crafting gear, you really want to check in with your class Discord or just a class guide, because they'll tell you what the best embellishments are for that craft. It's absolutely worth using those because they're really powerful. And of course, for your weekly guaranteed source of sparks, do remember to pick up and do Liadrin's weekly quest. It'll give you a spark and you'll finish it passively while you're doing other things. So, now that we've got crafting covered, let's go and do some sources that you are probably sleeping on. This is the kind of thing that's so easy to miss. So, Zaran is a NPC who was added in the War Within. The good news is he is back in Midnight. He's the Delve vendor, and now he can actually sell everything, meaning weapons, armor, jewelry, trinkets. And the way it works is he has a randomized stock that refreshes every run. Now, to unlock him, you need to get Delver's Journey Renown level 5. Once you get that, Zaran will spawn from any tier 6 or upward delve, and whenever he spawns, you'll find him with a selection of champion gear which is sold for undercoins. And the prices range from 1,000 for shields and offhands all the way up to 4,000 for two-handers, trinkets, and major armor slots. That's amazing for alts. It is flat out just more gear per run. But it gets even better because at Renown 9, which you may not have hit yet, but you'll probably hit soon enough, he starts selling hero gear. Yeah, hero gear, and that's for a new currency that's called Untainted Mana Crystals. You'll get about 45 of these for doing a single bountiful tier 11 coffer, and smaller amounts from tiers 8 through 10. So, as you get those, you'll actually be able to buy yourself hero gear. Now, another nice thing here is that undercoins are warband transferable, so if you want to pick up loads of bits of gear from Zaran, that's actually fine. For anything like me, your main has maybe got 10 or 20,000 undercoins just sitting around. All you need to do is open the currency transfer window and send whatever you need over to your alt, and then just buy whatever he's selling. Now, if you wanted to fully use this system, you could just spam non-bountiful tier 8 plus runs and cycle through Zaran's selection, because his stock refreshes every run. Though, to be honest with you, that would bore me to tears, and I would never do it. If you really want to, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. But what you should take away from this, especially if you're a War Within player, maybe in its first or second season, it's that the Delver's Journey track is actually now a gearing path. It's more important, more relevant, it has more interesting things. And of course, because of how it was in the first season of The War Within, most people just treat it as background noise and miss out on all this stuff. And that includes another feature that unlocks at level 8 of the Delver's Journey. It's called Warbound in Blood, and it unlocks champion Warbound equipment from tier 9 plus delves. So that means as you're doing tier 9s, you'll be getting a steady drip feed of champion gear to give to your alts. Pretty damn nice. And then, of course, as already mentioned, at Renown 9 you'll get From Champion to Hero, which will mean the tier 11 bountiful coffers will be able to drop hero equipment directly and untainted mana crystals that you can spend at Zaran. So what this basically means is we now have a solo path to getting lots of hero gear without Mythic Plus, without raiding, which is pretty new for World of Warcraft. As you do all this, you'll get loads of crests, but there's actually a way to spend less and get more. We cover this in our launch gearing guide, and it's even better for alts with the Warband crest discount. And it works like this. Our upgrade tiers actually have some overlap. And that means that, say, a veteran 6 out of 6 bit of gear is item level 250, and a champion 1 out of 6 bit of gear is item level 246. Now here's the thing. If you upgrade a veteran piece to 6 out of 6 using veteran crests, it will hit item level 250. And that will trigger the free upgrade threshold for your champion piece, which means you can then swap over to it and upgrade it to 250 for free. And this, of course, works at every tier boundary, so it will save you hero crests and even myth crests. And of course, with the discount halving costs in your alts and all the stuff for the transmutation, you will be able to stretch your crests so much further than you were able to on your main. The next big thing you're gearing then is Nullius. You'll find Nullius in the Torment's Rise Delve in Voidstorm. It's got 2 difficulties, normal and hard, and here's what's really cool. The first kill you get in your character will be a really big one, where you will get 30 hero crests, and if you kill him on the hard difficulty, you'll get 30 hero and 30 myth. And the neat thing is that those don't actually count towards the weekly cap. Now, after that, your weekly re-kills will give you 5 myth on the harder difficulty, which of course does count towards the cap. What it does mean then is that killing him once a week gets you 5 more myth crests, which will get you closer to being able to spend 80 myth crests on a really big chunky bit of crafted gear. But that's actually not the only thing about crests. There is one more. The housing quest. This one is honestly goofy in just how many crests it can give you for basically 0 work. So it's weekly, it's tied to housing, and it will give you a stack of crests of your choice. Now, this can be done on your new character, and I would recommend just picking the hero crests because they are the hardest to get. Now, by this stage in the video, we've covered a lot of things, so the next thing I'm going to do is bring it all together in a weekly loop that you can basically just learn and do on your alts. Once you've done all the things I've mentioned so far, your freebies, your spark, crafts, and Zaran, here is your weekly rhythm of things. First up, you'll want to do 2 Nightmare difficulty praise. That will give you champion gear drops and hero in your Great Vault. Then you'll want to do a 3rd of those to complete Astalor's weekly quest, which is called a Nightmarish Task. That will get you 20 hero crests and a Beacon of Hope. And the Beacon of Hope is pretty awesome. It's a usable item that will summon in the nemesis boss Nullius inside your next delve. And when you do that, he'll appear, you'll fight him for a bit, he'll drop a loot box, and inside that loot box, you'll get a treasure map. You'll be able to use that treasure map to get an extra chest. And if you're also a bit lower, you'll of course want to do the hard praise as well. Now, your first 2 of those each week will give you veteran gear, and they'll fill your Great Vault with champion choices, which is pretty good. And every prey hunt will also drop coffer key shards, which of course you'll need for your bountiful delves. And that's essentially why we tend to do our prey hunts first. The next thing then is delves. You'll want to use the Beacon of Hope you got from Astralore's quest inside a tier 8+ delve. Use that, beat Nullius, then loot the Trove Hunter's bounty, and then use that bounty. The bounty will mean that the next tier 8+ delve you do will have a hidden trove at the end, and that will have some hero gear in it. After that then, you just want to do your bountiful delves. Now, you can get 6 restored coffer keys each week from the 800 shard cap, but you can also buy 2 more at Delver's Journey Renown level 6 for 2,000 undercoins each. And to recap our item levels, you'll be doing tier 8 bountifuls to get champion 2 out of 6 gear, and you'll want to do tier 11 because that'll give you champion gear plus 4 gilded stashes per week. Those will contain hero crests by default, but by the time you get Delver's Journey Renown 4, those will also start containing 5 myth crests each. So that's 20 myth crests a week just from delves, plus another 5 from killing Nullius, and the first time you kill Nullius, you'll actually get 30. And for most people, the goal is to get 80 myth crests so that you can make a piece of item level 285 gear, which is basically, it's as high as crafted gear goes. It is super powerful, so you'll want that. Now, one more thing about delves and alts, do remember that Varise's progression is account-wide, so your alt will benefit from every upgrade that you've got on your main, so even at the lower levels, your delve companion will be much stronger than she was whenever your main was just starting off, and that means you should be able to push higher tier delves on alts sooner than you may think. And of course, while you're in the delves, do go and kill the Nullius minions. You'll see 4 of them per run. That'll upgrade the Nemesis Strongbox, which will get you some more crests and also some more undercoins, which is all good because those undercoins can be used at Zaran to buy champion gear. And of course, whenever you reach level 9 of the Delver's Journey, you'll be able to get hero gear from Zaran as well, which is pretty sweet. But there are some other sources we should talk about. One of them is the World Boss. So the World Boss will give you 1 bit of champion gear per week that is Warbound. It's only 1 a week for your entire warband, but basically just kill this every week and toss whatever it gives you into your warband bank. You can't go and do them in your alts, of course, but the only real reason to do that is the World Quest reward, which will be like 1,000 gold. Isn't really much. Okay, let's cover dungeons then. So you can do Mythic Zeros. They're on a daily lockout rather than a weekly one, which means you can go and blast out 29 bosses, each of which will have a chance at getting you some champion gear. And certainly, if you enjoy dungeons, this is pretty damn generous, but otherwise, Prey and Delves will probably give you more gear per hour invested. And all that leads me to Mythic Plus. So, plus 2 keys will give you champion gear from the end of dungeon chest and hero gear from the Great Vault. That's a good place to start, but you'll want to get your way to plus 6 as soon as you can, because that's when the end of dungeon chests will actually give you hero gear. Beyond that, plus 9 is where Myth Crests will start dropping from the end of dungeon chest, which is a fairly meaningful breakpoint if you're pushing towards getting loads of empowered spark crafts or loads of myth tier upgrades. But there's another goal you'll want to hit, which is Keystone Master. That's 2,000 rating. You should be able to get that doing every dungeon at like plus 6 to plus 7. And whenever you get KSM, you will be given a bonus catalyst charge, which will mean that getting your tier gear will be really easy. I mean, come on, the game is absolutely showering you with champion and hero gear now. And one thing you should know is the dungeons are easier this season. There are fewer binary mechanics like binary win-loss. There's more time to react to things. It's very much designed for the post-add-on world. And if you're going to be pugging it, do be sure to use the Group Finder playstyle filter and just uncheck competitive and join learning or relaxed groups. So that's dungeons covered. The next thing then is blasting out some LFR for tier. You can do this if you want, so there's a whole bunch of wings available right now. And with this, the item level really doesn't matter. What you'll want is tier tokens. That's because getting your 4 set as fast as possible is kind of worth using veteran tier pieces, though honestly, because you get a free catalyst charge at the start of the season and a charge every 2 weeks after that, and a fairly generous catch-up, I actually think most people will be able to skip this and just catalyze themselves a full 4 set of either champion or hero gear. And compared to the past, there's another cool thing, which is the Catalyst Unbound achievement. This will let bonus catalyst charges drop from raid bosses, M+, bountiful delves, and PvP, which will basically mean you can kind of feel free to spend those charges on like even lower item level pieces, just so that you get your 4 set bonus. And while you do all that stuff, you will have crests to contend with, and you'll quite quickly cap most of these because honestly, the game just gives you a shitload of crests these days. As of the time of recording, the caps are 700 for Adventurer, Veteran, and Champion, and then 400 for Hero and Myth, though they go up by 100 every week, and that'll mean that soon enough, God, you'll just have so many crests. You'll be swimming in the damn things. Now, your spending priority for them is weapons first, then chest, head, and legs, then shoulders, waist, hands, and feet, and of course, strong trinkets also will take a priority, but the things that will be last are the bracers and jewelry, and that's just because you're getting less stats per item level with them. And as you do your upgrades, be sure to use the crest skip trick that I covered earlier. And honestly, there's barely any point doing a whole segment on where to get crests, and that's purely because we've covered most of them, and the game just showers you in these things. I mean, hell, you can farm Adventurer crests by just flying through the void balls that will spawn inside zones. So there you go. The big message here is that all the progress you do in your main gets your warband more powerful, that unlocks discounts, you'll have banked gear, you'll be able to spend your currency way more efficiently. It is just so much more smooth and alt-friendly than WoW basically has ever been in its history. I've played WoW since like a bit of vanilla and mainly TBC onwards. So if you just want to have fun enjoying the journey and loads of different classes and specs, this is basically the best time to do that. Now, if you want a summary of info, there'll be some of that on our site, and you've got a bunch of alts that you still need to level up. I think you should check out this video next, because it's, well, it's the leveling guide. It's got a bunch of different techniques, so I guarantee at least one of them will fit your tastes.